tomorrow morning. Good evening, my dear professionals, and you are welcome to this evening's presentation. And as I always say, we admire you, we appreciate you, we are delighted to have you this evening because in most cases, people on Friday evening, they don't want to do any other thing but to rest. When we start Fridays, we always say, thank God it's Friday. So we are happy to have you. One thing in life is to always yearn for knowledge, and that is why we are here. And please make sure that you listen attentively, and we are going to enjoy one another's company. I'm going to start sharing my slide. I always tell my participants that one thing is sure, that you should, you will, let me see. I hope you can hear me loud and clear, and you'll be able to enjoy this session. So let's see what we have together. Um, just give me a minute. Let me get my slide together. Oh, I hope we are all here together. If you can see me, you'll be able to take my slide shortly. Okay. Okay. That is the slide I want to share, and we will take this now. One thing that you always say is that why are we having this evening presentation? Ideally, um, ideally, people will have gone home to rest from the day's work, because we are addressing. I hope you can hear me. Let me see. Let me see what got it. Let me see. Okay, thank you, Nosa. Goodness, good to be here. Yes, Samsung, we will always want you to have your name. Yusuf Kangiwa. Yeah, I hope you can hear me all. Okay, thank you. One thing that we always say is that this evening presentation is usually for the men. At a point in life, they always separate the men from the boys. So why? Because you are fellows and doctoral fellow of this institute. Fellows and doctoral fellow of this institute. Tomorrow, we are going to mix with the associates, the members, and those who are not part of this group. So please enjoy this session. I always say in my presentation that please break into my transmission, but because it's night, we may not be able to. We may not be able to take all your questions, but I'll try as much as possible to take some of the questions. If I can't take your questions, please tomorrow at um the physical induction, where some of us will also be online, because tomorrow's presentation is going to be hybrid. Some will be online, some will be online, some will be in person. So please, if you can't take your question tonight, bring it tomorrow and we'll be there to answer them. Then break into my transmission. There's no nonsense question. All questions are correct. All answers are correct. Out of nonsense, we get sense. So please feel free to ask any questions and feel free to share your experience with us. What are we going to talk about this night? So let's see. Your attitude determines your leadership style. Your attitude determines your leadership style. You wonder why. When we started To the Glory of God 2024, you know what people started with? No grief for them, no grief for them, no grief for them. But if you have that attitude of no grief for them, what type of leadership would you exhibit? We'll ask that question at the end of it all. When you have no grief for them attitude, what type of leadership style would you exhibit? Because we're going to talk about lots and some leadership that we feel people cultivate, they use in the workplace. What do they how did they manage people? As HR, we should learn to manage people and be there. See, I want to draw your attention to the lower part of on the left-hand side of the screen. When I shook the hand of the immediate vice president, I've not washed his hand. So take your anointing. We are getting to the end of the year. So please catch it. You never can say where you will meet somebody of importance that you will shake the person's hand. I've not washed this hand since then. So thank you for joining me in that. So what are we going to do today? We're going to talk about, that is what I call, let's pack the agenda. Let's unpack the agenda. Let's unpack the agenda. Imonike is smiling, Clancy. Yes, I don't catch him too. Yes, I can hear you, ma'am. Chidozie, fine. Yes, hello everyone. So, yeah, are those who call the anointing. Thank you. So what are we going to do this night? That is unpacking the agenda. We are 146 on the call on the beat. So we'll examine organizational culture, we define leadership style, we understand corporate bones, dream of corporate bone, how to serve. Your attitude defined, the role of attitude in leadership, leadership competence matrix. Where are you on the matrix? Strategies for developing a positive leadership attitude, and our takeaway. Then we'll be able to discuss if we have the time. So now let's look at this. The importance of leadership in Nigerian corporate setting. How can I determine? These are usually influenced by company culture. Okay, what we do in one company may not be acceptable in another company. Impact on employee engagement and productivity, then role in navigating local and global challenges. So we need to be able to look at it and see what we can do. So there are three methods that we may learn wisdom. First, by reflection. Two, by imitation, and the third one by experience. So, and it's always said that it's not all the time that you have the opportunity to learn from your own experience. So it's better to learn from other people's experience, because when people say experience is the best teacher, it may not necessarily be your experience, it could be somebody else's experience. So thank you for those who are already applauding me. We will enjoy this roller coaster together. So what is organizational culture or corporate culture? It has been defined in several ways. Because when you say, oh, we have our culture, and you don't say, oh, what is your culture like? You say, the way we dress, the way we talk, the way we relate, and all that. These are usually informal. It's only few things that are put on paper for us to learn how to do this thing. But it just is something that propels us to get to there. So that is what we are talking about. Informal roles, unique ways of norms, values, beliefs, and ways of behaving. You can't just write it down and say, when you get to the office, behave this way. No, there are norms and values that become part of us over time, become part of the organization over time. So it's kind of mind programming that people just, you say, what's your culture like? Say we respect one another, we do this and all. Is that written? It's not. So we need to. And these are some of the things that affect us, especially the culture of the organization. So culture has been described as a web. When you find yourself in it, remember the spider, you get entangled. Okay, you get entangled, and you need to be inside of that system to be able to feel, to smell, to touch, and hear what the organization culture is all about. It's a shared meaning that all of us carry together. So a poor culture can lead the staff to be disengaged and lead to customer dissatisfaction. When your culture is not right, somebody will say, what am I doing in this place? I think I'm in the wrong place. So it takes months and years for us to be able to get things done when you find yourself in a new place. Let's not even say that you find yourself in a new place. You're already there. So what is culture like? Culture is the way we dress, our dress code, your language, the goals of the organization, the attitudes of people, policies, rules, thoughts, behavior, everything. Just say, that is our culture. Okay, I say, tell me about your culture. Just say, "Oh, we don't use foul language here. It's not written, but it is part of what you do. What is your policy like? We are customer centric. I need the recorded audio to listen again. No, it's being recorded. Thank you. That is Nora. So you see, when you talk about culture, it's something that affects your total being. in the workplace. So why did you not bring out the issue of attitude? Because attitude is something that you have to learn to use it well, or else you will make people to feel out of place. They will get disengaged. And that is part of what we are going to talk about tomorrow when we talk about, let me not let the cat out of the bag. Yeah, yeah, I will let you know what we are talking about tomorrow, but it will be part of what we are going to talk about tomorrow. So our leaders, way, they help us to lead. They lead the organization in different ways, different action, different values that they carry along with them in the culture. They share their visions, and all of us are there together, their visions, and to also look at it, what is our mission like? How do we get to that vision that those our forebears have thought about, and how do we get there? So your mission will lead you to your vision. So you'll be able to manage the people that will run with your vision in order to get it done. The goals, those they need to improve on what they are doing, and they should be change aged. And that is why we are here. That is why we're talking about fellows and doctoral fellows. Those who are not fellows or doctoral fellows, they may not find themselves in the place of being leaders, but this can also assist you. If you find yourself listening to this, can also prepare you for the future. So what we do is that as leaders, we should be able to improve. You should be able to inspire people to do what? To work towards the goal of the organization. So what do you want? So what do you want to do? There are different levels of leadership and expectations. This triangle that we have here, as usual, policies and everything, authority, power come from the top to the bottom. But now let's take it from the bottom for you to be a leader. Okay, look at the left-hand side of the screen, from the employee to the CEO. That's the run of the ladder for people to get to the C-suite. So employees, you found yourself there. From there, you move to supervisory level. From there, you find yourself at the periphery of management. You may not be in the boardroom, but then the executive, then the CEO. So then look on the right-hand side of the screen. All these people are stakeholders. So we're not talking of the external stakeholders, but within the organization, So now look at it. On the right-hand side, from the bottom, employee, they feel challenged. Why are they giving us so many targets to meet? They know no management will give you target you can achieve in 3 months. What would you want to do with the remaining 9 months of the year? So you feel challenged, you feel overwhelmed. So as supervisor, oh, you are moving up. You are empowered to overlook some people's activity, become a line manager. So when you find yourself in objective as management member, you give out objectives on what should be done. And that is where we now bring out the issue of KPI, KRA, and all that, the objectives, what are the strategies that we are going to use in achieving the goals and whatever. The executive and the upper part, they think about the mission. How do we get there? But the CEO, they have the vision of where we should be. Where are our competitors? Where are the other people that are in the same business that how much the lower run of the ladder from top to bottom. And that is why in management, we always talk, in modern management, we talk about bottom-up approach. Because there's so many, as HR, don't underestimate those at the lower run of the ladder. The undercurrent that you get there, the bubbles that are there, there's so many talent down there. And that is why tomorrow we'll also talk about talent management. As HR, we need to manage the talent so that they'll be able to manage the business, live our values, share in our vision, and we should ensure as HR leaders what make others to be successful. So let's look at defining the leadership style. On the right hand side is the matrix. You will see where you belong in terms of your attitude by the time we finish. So what is leadership style? What leadership style is the word? It's the approach and the behavior of a leader to guide, to motivate, and manage their team. Because it's a quality found in individuals. If you don't have it, You can develop it. Some people will say they are born with it, but at times, or most times, you develop it. At times, a situation throws you up to be the leader. I'll give you an example. When Baba Obasanjo, that time we used to call him Uncle Shege when we were in school in the 70s. When he took over from Murtala Mohammed, they told him that this is, he said he unwilling leader he called himself then. He was an unwilling leader, and because he didn't know that uh the throne, or he will find himself on the leadership chair. So whatever it is, whether you are inspired or whatever, or you found yourself there, how do you manage the people that will help you to succeed? Because you can succeed if your people are not assisting you to get there. So we need to, as leaders or individuals that are aspiring to be leaders, inspire, influence, and motivate people to get there. It's not about you. It's not about you. If you think it's about you, then you end up alone. Because someone told me, one of the elders or the sages said that it's lonely up there if you don't have your people around you. So what are the types of leadership style that we have? Look on the right-hand side. See visionary leader, transactional leader. You are going to see that whatever they are made of later after we finish this presentation. Fuel your growth, they said. So transactional, transformational, servant leader, autocratic, democratic, laissez-faire. Some of these laissez-faire, some of them are just they they've been part of what we used to learn. But I don't think anybody wants to do a laissez-faire type of leadership style. Situational leader, charismatic leader, coaching leader. So look at it. Where do you belong? There are some other ones that are not here, but where do you belong? So if your action inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader, because it's not about you. It is said that when you take a walk in the park and you look behind you, don't see anybody, then you have to think of yourself. So let's quickly look at the 6 leadership types of CEOs. Remember, we said from that our triangle, the CEOs are up there, but that does not mean that all the people down there are not leaders, but CEOs, top CEOs that we have. We have visionary, we have Elon Musk, decisive, empowering, then goal-oriented, then mentor, then inclusive. These are people that the world hold in high esteem. The world holds them in high esteem, and they just say, oh, who do you want to be like? You remember the American, what do they call it, election that finished? One day I was listening to CNN, somebody described Joe Biden as their ice cream president. That is ice cream president. I was laughing. I said, this man, if you ask him now, he may not be able to manage his family. So when you look at this, some people feel that what's his name, Trump and Elon Musk are good enough and all those things. So it's up to you. These are CEOs. Remember that our triangle, the topmost part of the tip of the triangle, that's CEOs. Under them, we have managers, we have supervisors, we have all this, we have that. So, but when you are going into the top as a professional, as HR, how do you manage? Where do you want to pitch your tent? You don't have to pitch your tent in any of this. You can just get a mix of them. So what do you want to do as HR? We want to remove those toxic culture that will make people not to assist us to achieve. We need to manage it well. We need to manage that well, very, very well. If not, you will find yourself not there. So what are some of those toxic culture? Lack of work balance. And remember, nowadays people talk of mental health, engagement of your employees, ignoring employee feedback. No, they should work. Nobody does that anymore. Even most organizations that are not unionized, people, they're now getting opened to allow their employees to express themselves. Though we still have some of these Asian tiger companies that are not allowing them to be there. But because of the situation all over the world, people will say, man, no that, man, no rotten. Let me just at least not sit at home. Okay. So underpaying employees, tolerating toxic behavior, okay, then favoritism in promotion, vague job expectation. And you see, when you don't give them their schedule, the job schedule, they don't know what to do. And even if they do know what to do, you need to encourage them. Micromanage. Micromanagement is when you control or monitor too much. You give somebody a job and you didn't let the person do the job. So what happens? Micromanaging. You're always looking over their shoulder. What are you doing there? What are you doing? How do you want them to grow? So HR is part of our duty as fellows and doctoral fellows of this institute to try as much as possible water down the toxic culture in our organization. There are some that we may not be able to have the opportunity to do that, but we need to make them uh to be aware that this organization is toxic. People always will have high attrition in your organization. Then at HR, look back, something is definitely wrong. Poor communication from leadership, overworking employees. The world has changed. The world has changed. Okay. So please make sure as HR, see what others are doing. What can you do to make a difference? So where are you? Where are you as HR fellows and doctoral fellows? What are you doing about this? So we need to look at it. You see, this catalyst leader is not part of what we have listed. So these are some of the evolving leadership styles that we have. A catalyst, somebody will say, oh, I'll prefer to be a transactional, transformational, da. You have heard today now of catalyst leader. What does it do? Ask questions, foster innovation, provides balanced feedback. Can you do all of this? Aligns action with strategy. Are you AI? Are you Mr. Fix-It-All? So what do you do? So please, let's look at it. What can we do as HR? Especially once you earn fellow and doctoral fellow of this institute. Don't ever pretend that you don't know what is going on. And that is what will take us to the right-hand side of the screen. Okay. Let us take that the definition first. The greatest discovery of my generation is that people can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind and new mindsets. So don't look at it, because when you talk about consciousness is divided into two, conscious and unconscious. So and when you look at it, some people will say, oh, I was unconscious of my incompetence as a leader. You have no excuse by the time we finish getting through our induction. Oh, I am conscious of my incompetence. What are you doing about it? That is why you are here, to change the narrative. Conscious incompetence. What do you need to do to be able to change the narrative? Conscious competence. These are talents that, I know what to do. I am good at what I'm doing. Then you'll be able to transmit that to those you are grooming for the future or grooming for leadership. Conscious competence, and you know the area that your strong areas. Then unconscious competence, I did not know that I have that. So you need to look at it, your consciousness, and how competent are you in all of this. So please, as HR leaders, fellows and doctoral fellows, look at what you can do. If you have conscious competence, share your knowledge. So whatever leadership style that you have, please serve. Serve. Serve now becomes a synonym, an acronym, sorry, for style, substance, satisfaction, empathy, resourcefulness, initiative. Go the extra mile. Okay? Go the extra mile. Don't take it all. There are some things that you can just overlook that you want to use to influence your people to do the work. We are not talking about money now, because one thing about money is that when you give people money from your pocket or from wherever, they will say it's from the abundance of what you have stolen that is giving us. Give them value. Make them to be efficient. You too should be seen to be efficient. And you will see that they will go the extra mile to do that. Add value to their life and let them also add value to the organization. Okay. So whatever leadership style that we use, we should give direction to the people. And one thing that we should do as leaders, whether catalyst, transformational, or whatever, is that success is all about growing yourself in order to transmit that success to others. So, but Jack Welch said that was before you became a leader. Success is all about growing yourself. And now that you are conscious that you are a leader, conscious competence takes over what you now do. Okay. When you become a leader, success now becomes about growing others, conscious competence, which you translate or transmit to others. So it's not about you, it's about others. Because one day, our native people will say, or Nigerians will always say, the office will outlive the worker. What value are you leaving behind? We are not even talking of legacy. What value are you leaving behind for those people to continue? Some of us today, we talk about the Gen Zs and all those things. Once upon a time, we were at that level, but they are going to take over the office when we leave. So please make sure it is the video, the slides will be available to us. So these are some of the things that we need to manage. One thing, remember that you will leave the office one day. The office will outlive the worker. So it is not out of the benevolence of the butcher that we get meat, but in serving his interest, he serves our own. That's an Igbo proverb, okay? That it is not because he wants to just give you people meat. He wants to make money. And at the same time, as he's making money, he's also serving the interest of those who eat the meat that he sells. So now let's quickly look at what we call corporate bones. Before I go on, let me see if there are any questions for me. Yes, somebody, Nisi Adejo says, whatever leadership style you have, share it, transmit it to others. Fantastic. Adejo, thank you. Thank you for that summary. Now let's quickly look at corporate bones. Hmm. We mentioned corporate culture and all those things. How do we influence that? Okay. There are four corporate bones: the wishbone, the jawbone, the knuckle bone, then the backbone. Okay. So let's see, how do we use that to manage our leadership style, to manage the attitude of others in the workplace? Uh, it will be made available. So, wishbone. Who are the wishbone? Always have at the back of your mind that triangle that we started with. Okay. From the employee to the CEO. Look at it now. How do we group these people? Wishbone. They are the operatives that do the actual work in quantifiable time. Oh, you ought to have, yeah, the floor manager came, or production manager came and said, this person is not working, and we'll go and report to HR in quantifiable times. But what we're talking about is that they ought to have produced about 100 cartons of so and so, but they did not. Something is wrong. So you went to HR. What do you do? These are people from the lower rung of the ladder. So they are generally the junior cadre, but very crucial to the success or otherwise of organization. They are the ones they can throw spanner in the wheel of progress or in the wheel of whatever of the organization, and the organization will run to a stop. So managers must recognize them, and that we are also managers as HR must recognize their contribution at all times. They are sometimes referred to as low but mighty. These are the wishbone. They always wish. I wish I'm a supervisor. I always wish, but they always be there. Maybe based on whatever that made them to be stalled at that level. Some of them will retire at that level, but always remember that they are important. The next set is what we call the job one. And how do you relate with these people? That's why we say managers must recognize their contribution. HR or production manager, wherever they are, we need to recognize these people. Job one are equally important in organization as they form the supervisory cadre. Okay, the supervisory cadre. Some of us find ourselves there. These are supervisors, senior foremen, middle level managers. Some of us that are in HR find ourselves in that level as maybe where if you find yourself as associate or members, we find ourselves at that level. So we should be able to relate with them. You know, the job bone, like you can see on that, this is our jaw. That is where the muscle of the head are. So they grind, make sure they oil the wishbone for them to continue working. So if they stop oiling that jaw, then everything stops as well. They take instruction from knuckle bones. We are going to get there and give directives to the wishbone. This, you see, they're in the middle. They serve as go-between and they assess the work of operatives. Operatives are in the wishbone. So now let's see. You remember the jawbone take instructions from the knuckle. Move. HR. How well are we relating with line managers and those people that are working? Knuckle bone. So they see to the day-to-day running of the business. They form the senior and executive management of the organization. They are now at the management level. Okay, the chief executive officer, managing director is part of the knuckle bones. Move. We need to achieve, we need to do this. So they call the shot and make things happen within the organization. They are the driver of the business. They don't own the business, but they know everything about the business. Okay, they direct the jawbone and the jawbone directs the wishbone. So the backbone. Who are they? They are the owners of the business. Owners, then president, sponsor, financiers. These are some of the stakeholders that are not within the organization. But if they don't support the organization, things will not go well. So what we need to do is manage all of this. As HR, where are we? Even if you find yourself as a knuckle bone or as a jawbone, whatever you do, put the employees, wear the tonga of the employees and see that we are all together to ensure that the goals and aspirations of our forebears for this organization are achieved. So most times they may not be known, but they are owners of business. So now let's look at the definition of attitude. What we've been trying to do is build a block of how leaders can find themselves in certain places. But it is your attitude that will determine how you will succeed. So all these leadership activities are very important. Someone said all the bones are connected and important. Okay, important. So, okay, thank you for that. Yes, all of them. Juliet got it right. All of them. So it is you as HR, a fellow and doctoral fellow of this institute, for this night presentation are important to ensure that all of them work in sync from whatever bone they find themselves. How do we manage them? And how do you manage them as a leader? Then your attitude will determine how you succeed. So attitude is defined as the persistent tendency to think, feel, and behave in a particular way to some object or persons or event. So whatever it is, you see, at times it may not be, we are going to talk about that tomorrow. It may not be that it's the individual. It could be the environment that makes a difference. It could be that the person, just look at that person. This person reminds you of somebody I love to hate. What do you do? And your attitude just changes. Once your attitude changes to that person, you need to manage it well, or else the person will see that this person does not like me. He will also look and change his own attitude towards you. So, what's the role of attitude in leadership? So, first, we need to understand what leadership is all about and the impact of leadership on the decisions that we make. Because if you don't make the right decision, then everything comes crashing on your head. But when you succeed, you say, "Oh, we have a fantastic leader." As HR, when the line managers come and they come reporting one person or the other, how do we manage? the situation? Do you put your attitude out first, or you consider the situation? So you need to understand attitude before you manage the people. So somebody say your attitude will determine how you will succeed. Yes, yes, of course, your attitude will determine how, no matter all the qualifications that you have, if you don't manage your attitude, you are out. So understanding attitude. Attitude is a settled way of thinking, feeling about someone or something. So it's either your attitude is positive or negative. There is no midway. Okay. You can pretend to be good, but inside of you are negative. You can be negative and say, you know, that once I just say it, I'm out, I'm done. I don't put it to heart. I don't, nothing. No, it's either that or this. So, but you need to manage the people, no matter how negative you find yourself. Please manage them. So, because it will impact on your leadership style. So, our attitude shapes decision making, communication, and conflict resolution. So, let's now look at the impact of leadership on decision making. So that is why when do you make the big D, that is decision making activity based on your attitude. So look at it. The key to success in decision making is as much as timing as making the right choice. When you say it at the wrong time, you may not get it right. So let's see when we make a success of our decision based on our timing, based on our attitude. The wrong decision at the wrong time is equals to disaster. The wrong decision at the right time. Oh, it's a mistake. Oh, when, like I mentioned earlier, that if a production manager comes to you to report some people on the shop floor and all those things, as HR, and you want to make it, so say sack him, sack him. I'll give you an example of one institute that I know, not NITAD. One of the council members said, the registrar was rude to me. How dare him? Council members, some of them are elected, some are selected. He said, give the registrar a query, suspend him for. When they were saying it in my presence, I said, that is too high-handed. So if they're taking the decision at that time, they will have suspended the registrar. They will probably will have left to go look for another thing, another job. They will have lost somebody, maybe who will have assisted them somewhere. Eventually, when I stepped into the matter, I said, let's hear what went wrong. So wrong decision at the wrong time, disaster. Wrong decision at the right time, mistake. We can forgive you. Okay? You'll be able to manage the situation. Right decision at the wrong time, unacceptable. You should know better. Right decision at the right time will give you success in whatever you do as a leader. So manage it well and you get there. So what do we want to do? Remember, we said positive, negative attitude. So your positive attitude in leadership should give you optimism, open-mindedness, resilience, that even if things go down, we'll be able to leap back or bounce back. That is resilient, that in the face of everything, we will still succeed. So what are the benefits for leaders? We foster a motivational workplace, or a motivating workplace, work environment. People will say, oh, I want to go to work. You will see situation when some people, even when they're about to retire, they say, I will still be coming here. I say, you can't come here because you have done enough. A motivating workplace, okay? Enhanced problem solving situation or capability, that you will look at the two sides of the coin before you jump to conclusion. Then you build trust and respect among team members. So what do you want to achieve? On the right side, blinking at us is what? Win-win situation. The win-win situation would be like, at any point in time, okay, win-win. If you have 70 and I have 30, I'm okay. We are going to talk about that tomorrow. Win-win. If I'm okay with 30 and you're okay with 70, fine. Very fine. Okay. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow under the topic that we are going to treat in the morning. So let's quickly take a case study of these noble Nigerians. How many of them can you identify? Case study, corporate positive corporate leadership in Nigeria. How many of them can you understand? See my cursor, the first man in suit with tie, smiling at us. Who is that? Your time starts now. I want us to attempt that. The one with the red background, with glasses, black and white, like in suits. Oh, let me see. If you get it, I'll give you something. Oh, not so the Evie. I know, Evie. Then the next person to him, in the cap, in the sunglasses. Let me see. Mm, Gaius or not. Now, Dr. Maita Masuli Abubakar, that is fantastic. So many people don't know. Gaius or not, so you are very. Is it Gaius? It's not Gaius, it's Gaius somebody before, but he is Gabriel. Gamaliel, not Gaius. Gamaliel Onosodi, not Onasodi, Onosodi. Gamaliel Onosodi, not Gaius. Gamaliel, Maita Masuli. Thank you, fantastic. Then the only woman in their midst. The only woman in their midst. Can you? These are people, these are noble Nigerians. Let me see if we can get it. Dora Akunyili, fantastic. Good. These three noble Nigerians, you see. Then the last but not the least, under Maitama Yusuf is, let me see, one of the gurus. No, Aboyade, no, no, no. No, I see, we have seen Dora Dusi Akunyele. Don't spoil that name. Dora Akunyele. Dora Usi Akuyele. Please, don't spoil that name if you don't know. HR people, you should know better. This man under Maitama Sule, Maitama Yusuf Sule. Let's see. If you don't get it, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. No. If you don't get this person that is smiling next to Dora Akunyele. This is bad. Very bad. No? Maitama Yusuf Sule. Yes, we got that. We got that. Underneath his picture. Can you follow him? You see? You see? He's Babalafe. Don't stop that run. Stop that. Listen, Babalafe. What? How many names did you combine there? Dr. Lighton Olab Lamido. Which Lamido? Oh no. See, Aboyade. No. No. Okay. As I said that in adult class, Baba no different. All the answers you are correct, but you mentioned some noble Nigerians. Let me see. This will be the last one. No, not a shopper. No, not a Falaye. No. You see why history should come back to our schools? This is Dr. Michael Omolayole. He's still out of the four of them, he's still alive. 96. 96, not BC Akonte. 96. Michael Omolayole. You see, that is it. So we should be able to look at this noble Nigerians and see how successful they've been able to manage the C-suite when they were there. So we need to look at the style, the achievement of because when you leave, it is your contribution to the success and the value of the people you are leaving behind, as well as the organization that will make them to remember us. So remember those four Nigerians. So negative attitude in corporate leadership will give him room for pessimism, resistance to change, lack of empathy on your side and on their side, because they will say, Oga said Oga does not sell conductors, money wants to complete. So they will not even put in their best because they say, see who is talking. Our leader is not in support of whatever we are doing. We are about 200 on this beat now. Yes, I don't know who is altering our screen. No, I will soon get the person shortly. I'll get the person. I don't know what he's doing. He went on one side and he's altering the screen. But don't never mind, it will not come on our slides when they are being presented to us. So, what are the consequences of negative attitude in corporate leadership, especially when people are not there for the members of the organization? What will they be? Consequences for leader? They create a toxic work environment. People just look at Oga sell, Oga does not sell, conductors money must complete. 30 days make a pay. At least after 30 days, they will pay me. They do not put in their best. They just come in and they go back. And such organizations have a lot of high turnover of employees. Productivity, will not be there, performance will be low, and all of this. So they even lack innovation. When they even think, they say, you will not believe us. He doesn't trust us. And especially when you are relating with the new generations of people in the organization. Now we have four. Remember, the veterans, the traditionalists, and we call them ancestors. They are out of the place. Nobody should be 70 years and still be in public service. The next set of people, the baby boomers, most of them are also out, unless those who doctor their age. But even at that, after a while, their body cannot push them anymore, or they cannot push their body, whichever one. Then who are the next set of people that we have? They are the Gen X, okay, Gen Zs, the millennial, and the alpha generation. Those four are in the workplace, and they're the ones that we are going to leave the organization for. So manage them well. So we need to mention some of those countries around the world that have ineffective leaders. Don't mention Nigeria. Your time starts now. That you look at the leaders and you say, these people are not it. Hmm? Hello? Are we together? Your time starts now. Nobody is talking. We don't want Nigeria. Let's see. Ineffective leadership. North Korea, thank you. Cameroon, Paul Biya, yes, thank you. North Korea, Ghana. I don't know much about Ghana. Paul Biya, yes. South Sudan, fantastic. North Korea, Cameroon, Russia, even the incoming South Africa. Yeah, we take that with a pinch of salt. Zimbabwe. Mm, yeah, Libya, Ukraine. Eh, mm, okay, I don't know some of this, but those ones that you have mentioned, you have your reasons for mentioning them. It's good. Depends on Niger. I don't say you want to write Nigeria because I will not buy it. We are all here together. We die here together. We make it all together. We make it here together. Venezuela, Russia, South Africa. Thank you for the response. Ineffective leaders. Their people are suffering. They don't even have a voice. Which country did I see yesterday that they said they were killing their people in droves? These are not even by Boko Haram or any other. The government itself is clamping down on them for protesting, like what happened during the NSAS. So overview of their leadership styles and challenges faced by their people. So how their negative attitude have hindered their effectiveness in the workplace and for whatever it is. I'm sure Nigerians were too smart for that to happen to us, that we know these two shall pass. That is what we do. But as HR within our system, what are we doing? So your attitude as HR, as a fellow of this institute, as a doctoral fellow, are you making waves or ripples? Ripples is when water drops like that in a pool of water, goes round, 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 round. Or waves, what are you doing? Flash in a pan, you and your organization, your company, your department, what influence are you making? Silent, but going, making, having influence, or once kill and go, as people will always say. So you look at it and see what you can do. What do you want to do? Okay. Are you that part of those that will make the undercurrent? So let's have what we call the B attitude, not beatitude, like those who know the Holy Book. The B attitude, the attitude that you should cultivate, the attitude that should wear and you'll be there. So be aware or care and capture hearts. That is the B attitude. Don't build a business, you build people. You don't build businesses, you build people. Because if you build people, if you build businesses, people that manage it and you don't build them, the business will collapse. Forget the issue of economic crisis. Some organizations, this is the time that they're making money. Then build people. People will build the business. Zig Ziglar, that guru on sales, he said that build people. Because when you look back at some organizations that we heard their names, in the 70s or in the 80s or early 90s or even early the millennium, they could not move forward. And that is why in L&D we say, if you don't train them, don't blame them. If you think training is expensive, try ignorance. So, because those who are not aware of what you want to do, they will not be aware that they should take care of their customers. They will not capture hearts. They will just be there to collect their money and move. So, as the B attitude is that you need to create a winning relationship, recognize and reward excellence. That is how you manage talent, care for your people, and they will care for the job or care about the job. And once you do that, okay, you with care and respect, building people is building capacity. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So when they care and they will have respect for the organization, they will not japa on you. They will feel that we are in this together. So what do you need to do as HR? You need to help others recognize their value and self-esteem. Learn to recognize our own value and build self-esteem first, so that others you will transmit and translate this to how they manage themselves in the workplace. So please let us keep this together. And as we're talking about in leadership, one important aspect of leadership is to turn around and see who is following you. Change your attitude. Have more of positive mental attitude. That is what we call the PMA. Okay. That is the PMA. We don't have the crab mentality. The crab mentality, you can't go up and I cannot go. No, but as a leader, see that these people, and we have the leadership pipeline, these people one day will move from where they are to be able to get there. For indeed, you have to change. If some of what we have said is sort of touches you, if one thing touches you, please remember that we are relating with people and we'll be able to get there. So the simple truth is that you are paid to produce results as HR. It is your people who produce the results. So what do you need to do? You need to focus your energy on your people, that they should be successful and you too will also be successful, as well as the organization that you are managing. So let's take some of these quotations and it will help us to understand what we mean by what we are talking about in terms of attitude. I believe that the single, let me see whether this is a question for me. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Eruvu. So I believe the single most significant decision I can make on a day-to-day basis is my choice of attitude. More important than my past, my education, my bankroll, my successes or my failure, fame or pain, what other people think of me or say about me, my circumstances or my position. Attitude is that single string that keeps me going or cripples my progress. It alone, okay, it alone fuels my fire or assaults my hope. That means you can move forward or it stalls you. So when attitudes are right, there's no barrier too high, no valley too deep, no dream too extreme, no challenge too great for me. Because your attitude will work for you. People will chest the bullet on your behalf. So what do you need to do? Attitude will determine job satisfaction, your job satisfaction, your job involvement, and other people's job satisfaction, the job involvement, and organizational commitment. And it will also transmit or be translated into how we behave within the organization. Attitude is it. So when some people just find themselves in certain places and you just say these people are toxic, people are just what I cannot work with. So tell them we will freeze you until we get a cure for your bad attitude. So we need to look at it. Freeze those people. Not that I freeze them and just say they cannot do whatever, but please make them realize you are going to get the soft copy. Yes. So we need to manage them and they get there. So when you say you'll be frozen, that means you put them in a place where they'll have to learn to behave, or else they will see themselves as not part of the team. And that is why when we talk of modern migrants, some people will say Jonah them. Jonah, you know the story of Jonah. Excess luggage. You are the one that will cause this organization. Throw them overboard. But in public service, we can hardly do that because of the public service structure. And you can't send somebody away unless it is gross indiscipline. And what do? You have to set up so many processes, procedures before that person is thrown overboard or before you join the person. So we need to manage people, manage our attitude in order for them to assist the organization to perform. So how do we now transform our attitude? Once you are aware, consciously know that something is wrong. When you look in the mirror, who do you see? You see yourself. If you see someone else, break that mirror, please. Because it is not juju. It is not that the village people is following person. You are not being sincere to yourself. So what do? Self-awareness and reflection. Reflection. Identify your personal attribute that is affecting people for not. You know, there are some people that you say, I'll transfer you to that department. I will do this one. Some people say, then you want to send me out of the organization because I can't work with that person. Then what do? Look for tools for self-assessment. That is part of why we say people should go for some of these online psychometric tests. Some of them are cheap, some of them are free. Just see, just take a little of that and see what is wrong. Am I good? If I'm good, what do I need to continue doing? If I'm bad, what should I stop doing? That will get people to be there. So adopt a growth mindset. I embrace challenges because it will give you the opportunity. When someone says this about you, don't take it to heart. Find a way of cornering the person to know. You know, it's not when you are leaving that they say, oh, they come and talk, and they say lofty things about you. Some of them are harboring a lot of bad things. That is why I tell my HR friends that, let's go back to the basics. That is what let's use what they used to use in those days. That is this box, suggestion box. Okay, people should drop it there, anonymous, anonymous. Okay, and they will tell you. Because once you see those things in those boxes, you will know that some things need to be attended to. But if you say, okay, we will use technology all the way and we don't have to say this or that or what you can do the old school. But if you have the technology that will not make the person to be visible, Akonde Raquel, I will get back to you. Okay, I'll get back to you on that question. So if you have the technology that will not make that will make the people to be faceless, please use it because those are the things that will help us to achieve. Okay, so adopt a growth mindset, then encourage continuous learning and improvement. That is why my great grand uncle Martin Luther King Jr. Remember, why? How can he be my great grand uncle? Remember, Lucky Dube says, once you're a black man, you're an African. And once you're an African, you're my cousin. Okay, you're my cousin or my uncle or whatever it is. So, Martin Luther King Jr., my great grand uncle, says the right attitude. What is the right attitude? If a man is called to be a street sweeper, who wants to deny me of that? Okay. Or if a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets, even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. These were great men of their time, and they excelled in their chosen career. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, here lived a great street sweeper who deserved well. How do you want to be remembered as HR? Someone that has that has the certificate of this institute as a fellow or doctoral fellow. So what are those strategies that will help us to develop positive leadership attitude? One, emotional intelligence, emotional management. and building resilience that no matter what it is, the setback that we have, we will bounce back. We will come back and do better than we did. So emotional intelligence has 4 legs, and you'll be able to see that we can just talk it briefly. So it's your capacity to recognize your own feelings and the feelings of others. Don't let people get under your skin, like what happened with what's the name of their president, Trump. Remember when they had the the debate himself and Kamala? He was always agitated, gets easily irritated and annoyed and all those things. Don't let people get to under your skin and now start making fun of you. Don't. So it's very important that your emotional management is such that people will be able to know how to push your bum, how to pinch you, and you start rattling or start talking like parrots. So ability to sense and use your emotions very well and more effectively. So it's not that, oh, this person did this to me, that is why I did that. Because emotional management say manage it well so that when the scales are down, it will not be that, had I known, why did I do it? No, emotional intelligence is so manage your emotions so that your emotions will not manage you. Okay, so now let's see how our attitudes developed. This is what I captioned the killer attitude. Years ago, Paul Harvey described how Eskimos in the frozen northern poles kills kill wolves. They take a razor sharp knife, dip it in blood, and freeze it. Next, they bury the handle of the knife in the frozen tundra with the blade sticking up. Wolves attracted to the scent and sight of the blood. The coldness from the blood-stained frozen blade numbs the wolf's tongue, and by the time he, the wolf, reaches the blade, he's unaware. He's licking a sharp edge and then begins to bleed. As he begins to bleed, he licks even faster until untimely he bleeds to death. In many ways, this story describes the way people are lured into the trap of bad behaviors, absenteeism, complaining, lying, misuse of official time and resources at the early stage. Such a worker feels good. But when he becomes neck deep in the bad habits, he begins to lose sense of direction, purpose, and reasoning. This may lead such a person to indulge in stronger and more potent vices until they are permanently hooked and eventually thrown out of job. Interestingly enough, the wolf and the person with bad habits have another trait in common. Each to give little or nothing for a huge or great reward. Small job, plenty money. This is impossible. The portion of what you sow determines the size of what you harvest. This is what I call the killer attitude. The more they get engaged in it, the happier they become. So it is very important that we look at it and see what can we do to help such people. So as HR fellow and doctoral fellow of this institute, let us move beyond that. See what we can do. Let's see how we can accommodate them and make them to change their stand on how they manage the organization, even when you are not looking. It's always said that the true test of one's integrity, trust, and everything good is when the lights are out and nobody can see you. You take a wink in the dark, nobody knows that you are there. But when you do that, that even when the light is switched on suddenly, you will not be caught unguarded. Let me not say, while the Americans say it, you will not be caught unguarded. So please let us continually do what? Manage our emotion in the area of self-awareness, mood management, self-motivation, empathy, so that you put yourself in other people's shoes and managing relationship. Because with all of this, you'll be able to get people to test anything for the organization and integrity is doing the right thing when no one is looking. Yes, of course. I didn't want to use big names. I just want to ensure that we understand what you're talking about. So what are the benefits of emotional intelligence? It makes you to make better decisions, like what you said before. You communicate and work together more effectively. You develop tolerance, appreciation for multicultural and diversity. How do you manage that? We're going to talk in depth about that tomorrow. Manage constructive discontent. Those who are not happy with you, how do you do that? You don't like that person, but you still have to work with the person. Become more productive and change proficient. Increase in leadership skills. Manage relationship and negative feelings very well. Note, the workplace must be a place of high quality relationship. One thing we should realize that we spend most of our time in the organization. We spend a good quarter of our life. And the first thing when you have is a celebration or whatever, the first set of people that you call are what? Are your co-workers, people in your workplace. So you need to manage them well. Before we end, before we end, let me look at let me look at the time if we can achieve one or two questions. If not, I said we have enough time tomorrow to do that. So if you have any question, please, if it is urgent, we will attend to it. If not, we take it tomorrow morning. So let's look at it. Before we end, let's remember we need to invest in people. How do you invest in people? People judge you by your actions, but not by your intention. It is the way they see you behave and attend to their issues that they know you are a leader to be followed. Life is a lesson in forgiveness. To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner was you. To get ahead in life, build a bridge and not a wall. As HR, let's learn to build bridges. Okay, conflict management, you say need more information on conflict management. That is Nora. You need information on that. That has to do with the institute. Maybe one of these our webinars or training will be able to deal on conflict management. I'm sure the national coordinator is there. So emotional intelligence to motivate, inspire, support. Okay, yes, you are right. Desmond, you are right. Okay, you want something on time management to loop in your data. Yes, that is for the institute to capture, and they will do training on that. So to get ahead in life, build a bridge and not a wall. Do not end up like concrete or mixed up and set. Concrete. Before you to be able to get at it again, you have to break it down. So strive for positive change. For change is the only constant thing in life. So take a deep look at your leadership style, how your associates perceive you, what flaws can be identified in yourself, associates, especially working relationship in your organization. Before you start anything as a leader, what do? Learn how to finish. See how that man box himself to a corner. How is he going to come out? You are painting and painting towards yourself. You box yourself to a corner, and that is it. Who is going to help you to get there? So let's move on. So mankind is a tri-dimensional being: physical, mental, emotional, which people always also talk about being the spiritual aspect. So the answer to being better than everyone else lies in what? Evaluating yourself in these three areas. How are you managing people? These three areas affect the pressure that we get in life. Okay. The pressure that we get in life, the stress and the distress, the pleasure we get when we have the right interpersonal relationship. Take a shot of attitude vaccine. How? By taking control of our down and up feelings. This affects the calls we make, when we start, how we finish, the results we obtain from such a relationship. So add what? A dose of integrity. Integrity. Yes. Okay. A dose of integrity as a leader. Throw in a constant quest for knowledge and learning about how to become better than who we are. Can you give me a minute? Let me just try and switch off the noise behind. I don't want anything to disturb our lecture. So let's throw in a dose of what? A dose of integrity, discipline, and organizational management. So that will be better than who we are today, tomorrow. So what do you do? In conclusion, that's my cousin, the black man that occupied the White House. Uh-huh. In conclusion, but not the end of it, he says people must trust you, they must have faith in you, and they must believe in you for you to be able to be a good leader. What type of leader? Catalyst leader or transformational servant leader? Is it just by mouth? So we leaders, in our lust and desire to assert ourselves, we get ensnared in our own insatiable appetite for power, inordinate ambition to our own peril. People, leaders, unfortunately, we mistakenly confuse our confident, resolute peace and certainty for weakness. In our lust, desire, and selfish hunger, we haphazardly charge vigorously towards our failure in office. Remember the killer attitude: leak, 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 until they leak to the end and they die. Killer attitude. So the critical role of attitude in shaping leadership style is very important. Practical steps for Nigerian leaders and HR is to ensure that what our leadership style is through our through attitude transformation. We need to change that. So I want to go to this, what I call the CEO. Please, you will take your questions after now. So I want to change to this slide, and I'm sure I think you can see that. If you can see this, please give me a thumbs up. A successful businessman. If you can see that, please give me a thumbs up. If you can see this, yes, okay, then if Deborah can see that, then I'm fine. A successful businessman, I want us to listen to this. That's the next CEO. It's about leadership. Okay. A successful businessman was growing old and knew it was time to choose a successor to take over his business. Instead of choosing one of the directors or his children, he decided to do something different. He called all the young executives in his company together. What did he do? He said, "It is time for me to choose the next CEO, and I've decided to choose one of you." The young executives were shocked, but the boss continued. "I'm going to give each one of you a seat today." Victoria, you are the one giving us the screen. I'm going to give each one of you a seat today, one very special seed. I want you to plant the seed, water it, and come back here 1 year from today with what you have grown from the seed I have given you. That's the seed. So then I will judge the plant that you bring, and the one I choose will be the next CEO. One man named Jim was there that day. He, like the others, received a seed. He went home excitedly, told his wife the story. She helped him get a pot, soil, compost, and he planted the seed. What happened? Every day, he would water it to see if it had grown. After about 3 weeks, some of the other executives began to talk about their seeds and the plants that were beginning to grow. Jim kept checking his seed, but nothing ever grew. 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks went by, still nothing.
I didn't understand that.
A year final. Okay, but others were talking about their plants, but Jim didn't have a plant. He felt like a failure. 6 months went by, still nothing. Nothing in Jim's pot. He just knew he had killed his seed. Everyone else had trees and tall plants, but he had nothing. Jim didn't say anything to his colleagues, however. He just kept watering and fertilizing the soil. So he wanted to see, he so wanted the seed to grow. A year finally went by, And all the young executive of the company brought their plans to the chief executive for inspection. Jim told his wife that he wasn't going to take an empty pot, but she's asked him to be honest about what happened. Jim felt sick to his stomach. It was going to be the most embarrassing moment of his life, but he knew his wife was right. He took his empty pot to the boardroom. What happened? See the empty pot. Took to the boardroom. Jim arrived. He was amazed at the variety of plants grown by the other executive. They were beautiful in all shapes and sizes. Jim put his empty pot on the floor, and many of his colleagues laughed. If you felt sorry for him, when the CEO arrived, he surveyed the room and greeted the young executive. Jim tried to hide in the back. Mine, what great plants, trees, and flowers you have grown, said the chief executive. Today, one of you will be appointed the next CEO. All of a sudden, the CEO spotted Jim at the back of the room with his empty pot. He ordered the financial director to bring him to the front. Jim was terrified. He thought the CEO knows I'm a failure. Maybe he will have me fired. Jim got to the front. The CEO asked him what had happened to his seat. Jim told him the story. The CEO asked everyone to sit down except Jim. He looked at Jim and then announced to the young executive, "Behold, your next chief executive officer. His name is Jim." Jim couldn't believe it. Jim couldn't even grow his seed. How could he be the new CEO? Others asked. The CEO said, "Everyone in this room was given a seed. I told you to take the seed, plant it, water it, and bring it back to me today. But I gave you all boiled seeds. They were dead. It was not possible for them to grow. All of you except Jim have brought me trees, plants, flowers. When you found that the seed will not grow, you substituted another seed for the one I gave you. Jim was the only one with the courage and honesty to bring me a pot with my seed in it. Therefore, he's the one who will be the next chief executive officer." The moral of the story: if you plant honesty, you will reap trust. If you plant goodness, you will reap friends. If you plant humility, you will reap greatness. If you plant perseverance, you will reap contentment. If you plant consideration, you will reap perspective. If you plant hard work, you will reap success. If you plant forgiveness, you will reap reconciliation. So be careful. What you plant now, it will determine what you reap later. Whatever you give life, life gives back to you. Live your core values and reap the returns. So you will see that this is an amazing story that we need to think about and see what can we do as leaders. Honesty, integrity, changing your attitude about life, changing your attitude about what you need to do for you to be able to get there. So it's very important that as leaders, look behind, see those who are following you, see those that you can manage to get there. As I said, please, we will leave the organization for the people that are coming behind us. So let's take one or two questions before we end. Is it 10 already? We have about 5 minutes to go. Thank you so much for listening, and we will finish up with some other things tomorrow by God's grace. So let's see. Okay, very lovely story and ended with someone gave us about being what? Being honest. Honesty is part of being a good leader. Okay. Someone asked us a question earlier. Okay, I think this is it. If I, as an HR, realize my behavior is toxic, please, what can I do? What if I'm an angry type? Can I still be an HR, realizing that sometimes it might be toxic? Yes, you have to manage that. You have to manage no matter how toxic you are. As I said, look in the mirror. Are you the neck of the bottle or the bottleneck? Look in the mirror. I'll give you so many examples are out there. You see, there are some people they say, maybe because I give you an example of someone that when we had a program, he said, I don't know why people hate me. Maybe because I succeeded in coming out with first class and I was the best student in my da 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 da. When the person finished, I couldn't tell her that it's only those who love you that will tell you, my friend, you have body odor, you have mouth odor and all those things. Please, once you have been able to see that you have that tendency to be toxic, see how you can change to being positive. What you do is that look at it. Get, like I said, that faceless box that we used to use, suggestion box. They will write about it. So as someone is telling us that please work on your emotional intelligence so that you'll be able to be a successful HR. Some people, they say that is how we talk in my family. And you think everybody is in your family. Some people will be shouting and shouting and you now say, what happened? You say, honestly, my father, they said he was, or my great grandfather was Agu. Agu is lion. And that's why they call me Nnamdi. I'm sorry if there's any Nnamdi on our beat today. That is why they call me Nnamdi, because they said I followed my great grandfather's step. But that was then. The world has changed. Okay? The world has changed. It is very important that take a look at yourself. Something is wrong. Go take lessons or training on emotional intelligence. Nobody will get you annoyed unless you want to be annoyed. It is very important that you manage your emotions, or else people will manage it for you. And that is the story of a man with a tie, and he went to the filling station and wanted to fight the conductor of a downful driver. But by the time he looked at that one and said, say next time you don't try that with me, he entered this car and he went away. If he had stayed, they would have used his tie to hang him. Okay. Is it legal to add doctor to your title after the induction? We will ask that at the president will tell us that tomorrow. But somewhere, I read somewhere, there are there is a government there's something about that the government says you cannot unless it is by PhD. But if you want to add it, you have to put honorary. Okay? If you want to, I have something on that. But if you want to, there are some acts, there are some federal government acts. Don't just add doctor like that. Just put HON. That makes it honorary. Okay? So as a leader who discover his toxic, the first step is to change your attitude to being positive. You can change for the better. Yes, you do that. Yes, you need to look at it and see what you can do. Please, if you want to use doctor, please put honorary before them. Anger is not just an attitude, it's a choice. What you do with your emotions at every point in time depends on you. Can you imagine? Let me give you an example of what happened about a week ago. Somebody in Ondo State, I can't remember whether former commissioner or former somebody, big man. You know what happened? He had an altercation with a police officer. As he was there, shouting and venting his voice, he collapsed and he died. Of what use is anger? Of what use is shouting? When you know things are so hard, please manage your emotions. That guy, dead and gone, shouting. Honestly, I learned a lot every day, not only on social media. This guy died shouting. Let's manage as HR, manage the emotions of you, your emotion as well as emotion of people, because there is what we call there's one mental health, and we are going to talk about that tomorrow, because part of what when you discriminate or you don't manage that well, you see people with they say they have mental health. Um, okay, if you want to ask this Onyinye Ochulo, ask, is this a qualification, a certification? Please ask the president tomorrow. Thank you so much. Anger is destructive, yes. If you remove D from danger, you get anger. So anger can be dangerous. Okay. Thank you so much. We will take the other questions tomorrow. They may come to you in your dream or come to you as part of what we have learned today. So please, let's take use sense in whatever we are doing. You are your character is you, and who you are is how well you can manage your induction. Is the induction tomorrow? Yes. If one is too quiet, your subordinate takes you for granted as HR. How is one